Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the Hare Krishnas in Britain podcast. This is episode number 67. A big thank you to everyone who continues to tune in on a regular basis from all over the world now. Despite being a British-based podcast, we've got lots of devotees and non-devotees tuning in. And at the moment, we're recording 2 podcasts a week because we've got so many stories to share with you from devotees around the UK and around the world. And I'm pleased to welcome our guest this week. Our guest is Kamala Dasi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hi.
It's great to have you with us as the guest this week. I'm looking forward to hearing your story. There's lots of fantastic things we're going to talk about. But let's just start by you telling us a bit about you and where you're from.
Okay, so like when I joined the movement, or
if you want to, if life before that is not worth mentioning, we won't. or because some people don't want to talk about life before Krishna consciousness. They find it too miserable. But whatever works for you.
Yeah, well, I came when I was 28, and before that, I was like, I was working at the festival circuit. I had a stall with some friends, and we did sold recycled clothing and like some tap from India actually, clothing, and I made clothing. It's quite a long time ago, so I'm thinking about it.
Where are you from originally? Where's home materially? Where would that be?
It's a little tricky because I'm from all over. So I was born in Kent, then moved up to I think Kent, Rotherham near Sheffield, then Shrewsbury, Dublin, Exeter,
wow,
North Devon. And I was in North Devon. I was based in North Devon, and then I met the devotees then when I was at the festivals.
Wow, was that by any chance near Ilfracombe, or did you go?
Yeah, it's quite close to Ilfracombe. Yeah, it's the other side of the bay. I was in Westwood Home.
Wow. So I about 30 years ago, I briefly lived in Ilfracombe for about 6 months. It's a bit of a story, but my mum was trying to get away from a man she was seeing at the time, so we ended up in Ilfracombe for 6 months. This was like but I haven't been back then. But whenever I think of North Devon, I think of that. So it is, and I love to go back actually to Ilfracombe. It's a beautiful part of the world. So you met the devotees in North Devon, did you?
Actually, the first time I met Srila Ashram Maharaj. It was WOMAD 2000 I met. Yeah.
Wow. Such a long time ago. So tell us a bit about that. What was you were involved with the festival scene, the festival circuit, selling secondhand clothes and things. How did you meet the devotees? So in sense they were at a festival and you kind of took prasadam or something like that?
Well, I had I had some dreams where these what I called spacemen were coming into my dreams. I didn't know they were devotees. They wore this like pink cloth, like more pink on the pink side of saffron. And the only devotees I'd ever seen in England were wearing this like orange color. So I thought it was a difference. I didn't know they were Hare Krishnas. But in my dreams, any case, you might think I'm a bit crackers. Anyway, in my dreams, they could read my mind, and I was getting kind of information through about Krishna and stuff. And I got a few records from secondhand shops, Govinda Madhipurusham, that I mixed with Bob Marley. Anyway, never mind about that. I also was reading some books And then I was at the festival and I saw someone wearing this cloth color that was like in my dream. So I was like, oh, wow. But I was a bit afraid, if you like, to go and approach him. So I kind of had an excuse to say, oh, I don't have money on me. I don't really want to go there. And then my boyfriend at the time just happened to throw a couple of quid over at me because he'd found it on the floor. And I thought, okay, maybe it's a sign. I should just go over and take a book. So I went over to him and he gave a couple of books to me. And one of them was Bhagavad Gita. It was Srila Gurudev's Bhagavad Gita. And I had a stack of cash on me at that time. So I thought he was a little bit of hustler. You know, devotees are a bit like hustlers, aren't they, on the street sometimes? But I thought, well, anyway, I'll give him 20 quid. And I took that. And then Maharaj, I met him again at Green Gathering.
Green Gathering. I've heard of Green Gathering, but I've never met Green Gathering. Yeah.
Yes, that's quite a conscious festival.
Mm.
I also met I got the devotees into another festival, which was Virgin 2000, which is quite a demoniac festival. And they were like quite stressed out, and I let them stay around my caravan, and that's the first time I had prasad. They were cooking khichdi, one devotee. Every time I looked at her, it seemed to take ages to make breakfast. That's the first thing I noticed. And every time I looked at her, she was like some kind of transcendental scene with her sari just wafting in the breeze. And I thought it was very beautiful. I thought the devotees were very attractive and beautiful. And that was the first time I had prasad. I was vegan, actually.
Mm.
And they happened to leave in my caravan like bags of shopping, which was like mainly yogurt, butter, milk, things like this. And then I thought, well, okay, well, if Krishna eats butter, then I may as well eat it myself. And I remember I came out and I just had a big piece of butter on my toast. And my partner said to me, wow, what happened to you? And I said, oh, I gave it up. I thought, it just seemed to make sense to me. You're taking the Lord's remnants, you're not, I'll just take whatever he's eating.
See, so you've always been quite a conscientious person, because you were a vegan, 23, 24 years ago,
Yeah.
and then veganism was even more of a niche thing then than it is now.
Please. They've got it easy now. They've got it so I'm so jealous of them. They've got it so easy.
Definitely. I've just been to France, and France is a terrible country for alternative diets, in my experience anyway. I went for my brother's wedding, and you go to different cafes and restaurants, and there's just nothing that you can eat. Whereas in the UK, you go to places. I know not all devotees do eat out, but those that do, there's more choices in the UK for alternative diets like vegetarianism and veganism and stuff.
Sure.
Which Maharaj was this that you saw at this festival?
Oh, this is Shripad Ashram Maharaj. He's a disciple of Govinda Maharaj and Pranya's disciple of Srila Gurudev. And he does a lot. He does a lot of preaching. He has a center in Birmingham, and he's opening one in Africa at the moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've been to the Birmingham Centre. I went there about 3 years ago, just before the pandemic started, and I spent a couple of hours there with Nemi Maharaj. I went to meet him and interview him, which was quite fun. Okay, so also, can I just say for me, you talked about having dreams. That doesn't sound crazy at all. I think it sounds completely rational. because of my background's in kind of comparative religion, the first thing I thought of was the Raelian movement. They're one of these kind of UFO groups that have, you know, and you talked about spacemen in your dreams, and I immediately thought of them. But recently I've been looking at mats in the Gaudiya Vaishnav mats in the world, and those that have actually been set up based on dreams. And there's at least two where their leaders have had a dream of Prabhupada or someone else giving an order or an instruction. And their whole preaching mission in the material world is based on a dream. And it's just fascinating. So yeah, I completely believe what you're saying. So that was okay. So that was 23, 24 years ago. You met the devotees, and now 23, 24 years later, you're now running an ashram in Wales.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, in one sense, how did you get from A to B? I mean, you know, what were those? So you got involved with the Krishna conscious movement in the early thousands, 2000s, and what was happening for you then at that point in your life?
When I went, actually, Ashram Maharaj told me that I should go see his guru. And he was in Vrindavan, so that was interesting for me because I didn't know Vrindavan was on the planet. I thought it was in the spiritual world. And the other point was that I thought, yes, I could tell that he had a lot of affection for his guru, but I couldn't tell anything from the picture. And I needed to go and see myself if I felt that that was a guru, and if it was a guru that was for me. So I went, the end of that, I had a commitment. So I finished that commitment working on the festival circuit. And then around the end of the season, around September, October, I went to India to find him, to Vrindavan. And I went to ISKCON, which is like one of the first, I think it was the first temple I went to, Krishna Balaram. And I was totally amazed by it. But I couldn't find this guru because I didn't know that he wasn't there. He was in, because I just looked in a guidebook, where are the Hare Krishnas? But then I met someone that had come to the festival that I'd helped get into the festival. And she said, oh, you're in the wrong place. He's not here. He's in this little Gaudiya mat in Seva Kunj. So she gave me the address of Rup Sanatan and Gaudiya mat, and also of the Gaudiya Sri Keshavji Gaudiya mat in Mathura. So I went there, and then I met Gurudev there. So, and then I happened to go straight into Kartik Parikrama in Vrindavan, which I didn't know anything about as well. So and can you imagine? I didn't know anything. I was kind of from the party scene, really. I didn't really know. I didn't know anything. I had no etiquette. I didn't know anything. And obviously, people probably thought I was quite crazy. And I was always dancing, and, you know.
That's great. That's part of what Krishna consciousness is about, being happy and dancing for the Lord.
Yeah, I guess in India, though, there's the restrictions that you shouldn't really be so wild at dance, the girls especially, in Gaudiya mat, especially at that time. And, you know, there's me near the base, which was the mridanga, jumping around like, you know, like I'm at a rave. Actually, one person said to me, oh, at last, he said, the ravers have come. He said to me, they said, have you come with your friends? I said, no, I'm just on my own. He went, oh. He was kind of hoping for that kind of energy to come into Krishna consciousness, I think. But yeah, actually none of my friends really, well, only my partner came as well. Yeah, into the movement. Yeah.
Wow. So because a lot of our audience is quite mixed. So we have some non-devotees, some devotees, people from different mats as well. So when you refer to Gurudev, you're talking about Srila Narayan Maharaj?
Yes, I'm speaking about Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj. I can show you.
Yes, please show us a photo. Wonderful murti of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj.
So, yeah, he mercifully accepted me as his disciple.
And in which year was that? When did you receive Harinam or initiation from him?
Yeah, that was also 2000. So I just went bang straight from the festival circuit to Vrindavan, took initiation, stayed in India, and kind of worked it out from there, really.
Wow, wow. I love that enthusiasm, but also that the fact you just went for it, you just jumped, you just dived in.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
I mean, was it the fact that there's something, you were looking for that at that point in your life? Was that what was going on for you?
Yeah. And Gurudev was the real McCoy. He knew my heart.
One of my biggest regrets is certainly physically or materially never meeting Narayan Maharaj. Because he didn't leave, did he, until like 2010?
That's right.
And I'd been around the movement for about 6 years at that point. And I one of my regrets is never physically meeting him, certainly in this life anyway.
I believe, because he's such a powerful personality, I believe, one, that he's here in his Vigraha form, which I think might be more merciful in one aspect. And I believe that he's present still in his kata and in his instructions. And in his disciples, he's got very qualified sannyas disciples. And I believe he's present there in their heart. And I think that he's still helping everyone who comes to him. And I don't think, like Srila Prabhupada helped me, and I'm sure he helped you as well, they don't really go anywhere. So don't put that. I'd advise anyone to not make that block, but to believe that he's in your heart and he can help you, even though he might not be physically present.
Yeah, I mean, Srila Prabhupada certainly talked about that, how, after I'm gone, just read my books. All of my instructions, everything I've said is in my books. So, this Vani is much more important. The instructions are more important than the physical presence of the Guru.
We do sorry to interrupt you. We do need someone to explain that to us often. But that is where the role of Vaishnav comes hand in hand with Guru. So if you have Vaishnav, association of bona fide Vaishnav, then he can take your hand and put it in Guru's hand, so you can understand those words and make that relationship with Guru deeper. And then you'll understand more of the teachings that he's given in the books.
So you've been around. That people interpret that in different ways. 2000 was, in one sense, 2000 wasn't long ago in the grand scheme of eternity, but in one sense it was 23 years ago. Almost a quarter of a century. And we've only really met online for the first time today, but I've been tracking what you've been doing on Facebook, because Facebook's fantastic. You can find out so many things about what people are up to, and the whole Gangamatas story narrative I've been following for a couple of years online, and and it looks like you yourself have been involved in a kind of management or leadership position for quite a long time in the Sangha, running projects, opening temples, running temples. How did you that's certainly the impression I've got. How did you get into that? How did that kind of happen for you? That kind of more leadership role in the Sangha?
Okay. Well, I was staying with some devotees in London, and they had a little place in a council flat in Homerton, and they needed to leave and they wanted somebody to run it. So I was just going here and there. I was in Australia, I was like in London, just distributing books really. And I thought, well, yeah, I could probably do that. Maybe I'll ask Gurudev. But I didn't want to ask him like I want to do it. I wanted to be instructed. So I was fortunate to meet him in the airport darshan in Holland. And he gave me an instruction there to do a preaching centre in London. And most importantly, he said, they will all help you. And at that time, there wasn't really anybody there. But that part of the instruction was so valuable to me. Because I don't really believe in people lead. I believe in it, for me anyway, it's like a teamwork actually. It's not like one person leading. If there's one person leading, it's Gurudev. And we're all, just part of a team, and we all have different propensities. And so we just engage them, but no one's lesser importance. So it's like a teamwork, really. Yeah. So that was through 2003. Gurudev said to do that. Yeah. So
you were part of the team that helped set up Gangamatas in London.
Yeah. Well, it was just me actually.
Just you. Okay. And that's
then very soon after came Manju and Sita. Yeah, they came very soon. Yeah, thankfully.
And this is the kind of I think it's called the Bhakti Centre in Walthamstow, isn't it? Is it Walthamstow?
Well, actually, no. We started in this council flat in Homerton.
Wow.
We didn't stay there very, very long. We had to leave there, and then we had nowhere to go. Then we went. Well, we actually just went to India and went for Kartik, and then we came back and we had to look for a place, and we had no money, and we didn't have anything at all, actually. So we ended up opening a squat in Harleston, which was wonderful, because the first couple we tried to open wasn't very good, and actually the police came actually and stopped us. But then the third place really was wonderful, and it was very clean, which was so unusual, and the only thing it had in there was a picture of Jesus, which I thought was quite wonderful, and then Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj came there for Nityananda Trayodasi. We stayed there for, I think it was about 6 months, I think. But then unfortunately it got bulldozed, and we came back. I came back and that was completely dilapidated, like bulldozed. And then after that.
So when you said, sorry, you were squatting in a flat, you literally were squatting. It was an empty block of flats, and then all of a sudden the Hare Krishnas managed to take a little flat.
It was actually a house. It was a house in Harleston. It was a 3-bedroom house.
Wow.
Yeah. But I guess they just wanted to demolish those houses, the council. It wasn't like we took it it was empty, and it was legal. We put our sign in the window, but we were occupying it. It was like a legal squat, basically. But that didn't last so long. Like, just we were very young in our Krishna consciousness. We had like UV Mangala. Everything was UV. Me and one girl with Padmini were painted on the walls and stuff. And I've probably got a couple of pictures of that time. We did our best, we did our best, and we just learnt on the way, really. And then we stayed in a flat in South London of a devotee who was having some difficulties with drugs, and we stayed in his place while he wasn't there. But then he needed to come back there, so we had to leave there as well. And it was a little bit challenging for us then, because we'd never really paid for anything. And then to actually come into a situation where now we're going to have to pay rent somewhere was quite a big move for us. We decided to take a risk. I managed to get someone to secure like a deposit for us. And then we rented a place in East Ham. I mean, we went to all the choicest places of London, basically. Homerton, Harleston, East Ham, Park. Like really the kind of rough places of London.
I love that. I love that whole spirit of surrender, though. You're completely relying on Guru and Garanga and just kind of going for it.
Yeah. I guess you're right there. Yeah. There wasn't so much concern.
You're just so. I mean, we don't use the word faith often in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, but just had the faith in Guru, just completely surrendered and just kind of went for it. And you didn't know from one week to the next where you would be doing Mangalarti, or where you would be doing your japa, or where you would be cooking your prasadam. And it sounds like a real kind of, I find it quite inspirational, actually, what you've been. You yourself might think, I'm just an ordinary person, but actually people hear your story and think, wow, this is quite phenomenal how the story of Gangamatas has evolved and developed over 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, one devotee called us gangster matters at that time. And we did, I mean, it's not like, I don't know if we were surrendered. I really wanted to do what Gurudev told me to do. That's, that was in my heart to do. We didn't really have the ability, but I remember when we were going to move to pay the rent in East Ham, one devotee said to me, she said, well, you know what, maybe you could do window cleaning, if you need to pay the rent. And she bought us a bucket and the thing, to do the windows. And we did go round to some places in East Ham to ask if we could clean the windows. Me and Sita, I got one gig at a hip hop shop, basically, to clean the window, but it was only going to give me £10. So I thought that's not actually going to go very far. So that's quite funny remembering that. But as it happened, we didn't need to do the window cleaning. We just kept the bucket in the bar. So yeah, it worked out. We never had too much, but we always had what we needed. And we started slowly started growing. Gurudev's assistant, wonderful Vaishnav Kushupad, Madhav Maharaj, said to us that we're like Matsya, just keep growing a little bit to the size of our tank, with a bigger place. So we then finally from Blasto, because we got we literally couldn't stay in East Ham because we were so noisy, you know, and we really annoyed the whole street.
I can imagine with all of that kirtan, all those bells ringing at all times of the day.
Oh God. Yeah, oh God, can't believe it. So yeah, she said to me, neighbour, oh, you're never going to find any peace because you're always going to be annoying people. We had the police come round thinking we're having a rave one time. A whole van of police turned up. And funny enough, when they came in, we were just taking prasad. So all the sweet devotees just taking prasad, you know. And the officer said to me, is it okay to come in and check? I said, yeah, of course it is. Would you mind taking your shoes off, officer? And he said, if I take them off, I'll never find them again. There's so many pairs of shoes in a little terraced house, you know, in East Ham. But yeah, after Plastow, we had to move to there. And after Plastow, then we moved to walthamstow. So that was the mercy of one devotee from France who wanted to pay everything for Srimati Umadidi, who was coming to our place, a wonderful Vaishnavi. And so she wanted to pay everything. She wanted to pay the electric while she was there, just everything she wanted to donate. And then when she actually came herself, she saw how we were living, we were just all in lines, like sleeping in one room, like loads of girls lying on the floor. So then she wanted to buy a place for us, so we could have a better facility.
Wow. So this devotee in France actually bought the Bhakti Centre. I think that's what it's called, isn't it?
She bought it. Yeah.
Wow. That's quite a saver, quite a commitment, isn't it, to give your money to something?
It's very rare that somebody will do like that. And her name is Brajavilasini Didi, and she paid for the house for us to use for free for all these years since 2012, I think it was.
Wow. That's I find that quite amazing. And so 2012, that was 11 years ago. So 11 years the Bhakti Centre has been there. I have visited, by the way. Both times you were not there. Maybe it wasn't Krishna's plan for us to meet until today. So I went to visit. I went to visit in November 2019, but I think you were in India. It was Kartik, I think. There was a big group of you. I went just to go to a Sunday program, and I remember Balabhadra was there. I think he's a regular there, isn't he? And he was giving the class. And he was, I remember it very well. He gave a 2-hour talk on comparing different translations of the Bhagavad Gita. It was very intense.
That's because I wasn't there. He wouldn't be allowed to speak so long.
He was talking, it was Srila Narayan Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Maharaj comparing all their translations of the Gita, all their commentaries.
Yeah, that's nice.
And it was, I remember, wow, after 2 hours, wow, this guy knows a lot. And I was sitting there starving, waiting for prasadam, you know. And then I went to visit a year ago when Budayan Maharaj was in town. He was at the centre. It was a summer, it was literally last July, so a year ago. He was doing a program there. But you see, eventually in this kind of story, we're going to get to Wales, which is where you are now. But we've got to go via Skegness, haven't we? I think in this story, you guys were serving. You were running a centre in Skegness for a while.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, Skeggy. Yeah.
Skeggy. How many years were you there?
We're not there very long. Just a couple of years. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and you obviously you raised, I mean, if you don't mind me asking, you raised some funding to pay for like a building or a house or something, and then I think a group of ladies, you were all living there together and running programs, I think.
Yeah, that's us lot. Yeah, there's 11 girls at the moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. well, and a couple of visitors as well at the moment, girls from Brazil. 2 girls from Brazil are with us as well.
And so all 11, 12, 13 of you are all kind of living like a monastic brahmacharini life, are you?
Sounds funny, isn't it, when you label things?
Yeah.
You know, I think what it is well, in my case, it's I don't really, it's not like I'm this like brahmacharini, and you know, it's just that it's just that my faith is in what my guru is speaking, and I feel a happiness in that, that I want to give my whole heart to it. So as much as I can give, it's not exactly my whole heart, but as much as I can, then that's what I'm following. It's not really an austerity. It's quite an austerity when I'm needing to spend time in the kind of material life in a way. That's quite an austerity for me personally. So it's more of a case that we're together because, you know, we like the program, and we like prashad, we like the program, we like, you know, having the facility so that we can celebrate the appearance and disappearance days in the Vaishnav calendar, and you know, having that opportunity really is the reason that we're together and doing that.
And some of the ladies, some of the girls, you've been together a long time now, serving together a long time.
Yeah, it's true. It's now we're all getting old now. Yeah.
Wow.
It's true.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us a bit about now the kind of the ashram in Wales, the Gangamatas Centre Temple Ashram in Wales. Because you've only recently moved there, haven't you, I think?
Yeah, just end of March we came here, so we haven't been here very long.
Wow, that's like 3 months or so, 2 or 3 months. So we certainly spoke before I hit the record button, but it's kind of central East Wales, isn't it? Kind of more close to England.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's just 1 hour from Shrewsbury, like 20, 30 minutes from Newtown. Yeah.
And it's a former manor house, or what was it before?
I think at some point it was like a little farm, maybe, or part of a farm, I think. There's a little farmhouse, and a couple of 3 barns. This was a barn that we're in at the moment, which is our temple room. But it's been converted in the most lovely way. It's like all eco, so it's got eco lighting, and it's got lambswool insulation, and it's got like eco paint, and it's just got really nice features, the place. Yeah.
I'm impressed by the eco kind of green temple type thing. That's quite a good vibe, I think.
Too, very much so. And it's got its own water supply, and you know, it's got a very healing energy here. Really, yeah, really has. It's lovely.
So you do like you have your regular daily program like Mangalarti and different things, and Prashadam and class in the morning. And there's a number of you living there. Are you getting support from devotees outside as well, kind of outside that area?
Yeah, you mean financial support, or you mean
in any way? I mean, in terms of financial support, I mean, obviously that wonderful eco temple room you're in, did someone come and help and do that and put it together and that kind of thing?
Well, this is what's quite magical, that it was already like this when we came in.
Wow.
We literally only made an altar, me and my friend Sita, we made an altar. But even the light, what, you've got the pictures with the lights above.
Yeah.
Let me just show you.
Yes, please show us. Please show us. Yeah.
Because like here is Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, and you can see the light there.
Yeah.
Well, it was just facing up, and we just turned it down. So it's a bit magical, It's a completely light. That's it. It's all eco lighting.
Wow.
I know.
And for the I know you showed me before I hit the record button, but for our viewers and listeners at home, could you just show us around the temple room so we can
yes, I'd love to.
see what it looks like?
Just put on them. Okay. Look, this is look at the lighting's really cool.
Wow, looks like a spaceship.
Yeah, it's like you can turn it down. It's like and yeah, along the you see on the floor because it's
Amazing.
like aligned with the universe and stuff. The lighting, it's really cool. And then there's our divine spiritual master Gurudev.
Jai, wonderful Murti there.
So he's so like he, he's really like got live presence. And then the heating's a wood burner. And then this is our altar. So we've got
Beautiful deities. So it obviously takes a lot of work to look after the deities, look after the altar. You know, people are there full time to dress the deities, feed the deities.
Do arti.
Amazing. Do arti, yeah. Oh, Hare Krishna. Wow.
I know, make the garlands. I know, it's really busy here. Then you've got a lovely view out the window.
Wow. It looks amazing.
Come, it is amazing.
Yes, well, it's probably not very far from where I live, actually, so I should come and visit at some point.
Yeah, everyone's welcome.
And in terms of everyone being welcome, and I know you've not been there that long, but are you doing like Sunday programs, or will you start to do maybe programs for the community, kirtan and things, and Sunday feasts and stuff?
We do programs every single day, so you can just pop along at any time, whatever. It's on any appearance day of any of like yesterday was Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Any day there's always a feast, there's always something in honor of that Vaishnava. So you could pop along literally whenever you don't have to wait for a Sunday. You could just come when you're free, We're also trying facilitating for retreats here because it is a retreat centre actually originally. So we've been facilitating for a few different retreats, which has been really interesting for me. Something that I really wanted to get into doing. I'm not sure if you want to hear about that.
Please do. I have seen some of the photos on the Gangamatas Facebook page of the retreats, and they looked wonderful. So exactly, yeah. So tell us a bit about the retreats and the kind of things that you do there.
Well, something that I've been noticing a lot is that and I think everyone's been noticing a lot the divide on earth between like very heavy kind of controlling the kind of demoniac energies of wars and sorry about that. But there's also quite a lot of light energy workers and people that are vegan, people conscious, people that are into environmental things, people that are into caring about people, the kind of the good side of humanity. So I kind of wanted to facilitate for people that are to do retreats here of good people, and we've had some yoga people come in that run the Ministry of Yoga, who are just wonderful people that are practicing karma yoga, and they came and did a retreat with us over the weekend, and they're coming back in September actually. And when they came into the temple room, they just went, wow, just automatically. And that was I thought that was lovely. And they actually wanted to do some kirtan with them as well next time they come. So that was a boost for me. And also we had a group from the environmental agency who were doing a run. like a relay run from
Yeah, yeah.
castle to castle. And we cooked for them, gave prasadam. I don't know, I just feel this, how, because you were mentioning about preaching and bringing more people to Krishna consciousness. And I was thinking that I think it's more of a subtle thing. And it's just touching people's lives, and then how that reverberates into society is very powerful. So I want to facilitate for others to do retreats here, and we cook, give prasadam. I've got a lot of faith in prasad, and also at some point I want to start doing retreats, like bhakti retreats here for devotees as well as maybe doing some yoga retreats as well for people that just want to come in on a little bit of a less intense level, shall we say? Just maybe a bit more about body and mind. That's side of it, and facilitate for that, and then go a bit deeper for those that are more inspired, and do some bhakti retreats and have some more, give the devotees opportunity to be a bit more immersed, and just leave everything behind and come here and just get absorbed in the program for a couple of days or whatever. So that's kind of that's the direction I'm hoping to go in with this facility.
It sounds great, actually, Kamala. It sounds you're really using that building to spread Krishna consciousness. You've got people wanting to come now and take part in retreats, and you've held some retreats, and yeah, and I think there's certainly a need for that type of environment. I mean, obviously, I'm going to say that I'm part of the choir, metaphorically, but we need more places like what you've created there to act as a safe space where devotees can get together. They might need some healing. They just want to be with other devotees. They may want to spend time alone. A place where you can just, experience bhakti in a loving and open and inclusive way.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right. I agree. Yeah, and have opportunity to be absorbed, because in Walthamstow, devotees are there, and I'm sure they were grateful for us being there and hosting programs on Sundays, but they couldn't really all really stay there because it was just a little terraced house, there wasn't much space. And also so busy, so people would often just come for the program, arti, go home. But here they can come, stay, go Mangalati, go, do the whole program, morning class, evening class, or prasadam, and get more of an immersion, So.
And what's the maximum could you accommodate, just out of interest? In terms of, I know devotees will sleep anywhere, but kind of bedrooms and rooms and things. What's the maximum you could accommodate there?
At the moment, I just had we just had 25 devotees here for Guru Purnima.
Wow.
I think that was kind of a bit full, really. It was okay, it was a bit full. I'm hoping to get a yurt to put up on a platform, because we've got like an eco toilet and shower up there. So hoping to put a yurt there, then you could fit a few more in there. And maybe another kind of thing, that a little bit more of an accommodation in the future. So I guess, I don't know if it was just for a short time, maybe we could have about 40, I'm not sure, but I think comfortably we'll probably stick with about 20, 25 at the moment, and then see later.
And I think I've seen from your social media platforms that some sannyasis have already visited the temple, have they?
Well, actually, Sripad Nemi Maharaj lives in Wales as well, not that far from us, like about an hour or so. So he's been a couple of times.
Great.
And he really likes it. He's thinking to maybe run a kind of like a retreat stroke workshop based retreat, thing that he's working on at the moment. So yeah, that would be great. He's an amazing facilitator for that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Nemi Maharaj. I like him a lot. I met him 3 years ago in Birmingham. I interviewed him, and I remember my first thought was, as well as when kind of as well as the beard and the kind of sannyas attire, he was very English, very strong English accent. And it turns out he spent his childhood in Bath, which is where I'm from. He wasn't born here, but he spent 15 years in Bath, which is obviously a very English place to live. So him and I have quite a bit in common. But yeah, I do like him a lot. And maybe I need to come to the temple and see him at the same time. Maybe I could do both things in a trip. Okay. Believe it or not, we've been chatting for about an hour, which is fantastic.
Oh, good Louise! Wow. Okay.
I know, and it's been it's been great actually to hear the story. It's kind of the story of Gangamatas over the last 20 years of how it's evolved.
Yeah.
You know, from squatting and police raids 20 years ago in London. You know, in people's flats to having these beautiful rural farmhouses.
Wow, it's true. Yeah, thank you for showing me that. Yeah, isn't it? It's quite a story. Yeah.
You know, where did you come from to where you are now? And you've the one thing, well, lots of things have been the same over those 2 decades, but you've just followed the order of your guru faithfully. And things probably have been tough over 20 years, but you followed his instruction, and look at Gangamatas now from its early beginnings.
Thank you. I think it's Srila Gurudev's mercy, and especially mercy of Prabhuji from Vrindavan as well, who's really helped us so much connect with Gurudev more strongly. So he's one of Gurudev's wonderful disciples, and without him we'd be very lost by now. So I'd like to give honor there. And obviously all of Gurudev's, actually Gurudev left us so much wealth in his disciples, and they all help us. They're very kind. So I'd like to give my respect to all of them. We're still babies, funny enough. We're still babies 20 years later, but they're happy. They're happy when the baby starts toddling, So that's their kindness. Yeah.
So I think, Kamala, I'll just say goodbye to the people at home, and you and I can have a brief debrief after. But yeah, so a big thank you to Kamala Dasi for being our guest on this week's edition of the Hare Krishnas in Britain podcast. It's been great to hear the story of Gangamatas. And I find it very inspiring. If you follow the instructions of your guru, the order of your guru, have faith in your guru, even during tough times, look where it can lead. So yeah, it's a great story. And so if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, please do put a positive comment. If you're watching it on Facebook, you can like, love, or care for it. Lots of different emojis. And please do share the link with your friends, family, and the different Facebook groups and pages that you're part of. Hopefully everybody will feel inspired wherever you are in the kind of Gaudiya family all over the world. Hopefully you'll feel inspired by the story of Gangamatas and how you can also make a difference. It's kind of a grassroots movement, Krishna consciousness, where we can all get involved and make a difference. So until next week, we'll see you all soon. Thank you. Hare Krishna.